Hey, what's up guys? So I'm making this video because I think I should be honest regarding to the decisions I take when it comes to the technology I use, especially when just a few weeks back I made a video. I don't know if you've seen it, and like most videos on my channel, very few people have seen it, but I'm sure the people who've seen it have found it useful. And it's a video I made on the ridiculously priced iPhones, the new 2018 iPhones in India. So like the iPhone XS Max, the bigger iPhones with the 6.5-inch screens start at I think 1 lakh rupees, 1,09,900 in India, and they go up all the way to rupees 1,44,900. So it's close to 1.5 lakhs that you pay for a phone, which is, well, that's it. At the end of the day, it's just a smartphone. Now you can't really blame Apple for this completely. Like I mentioned in that video, it's the various taxes that our country imposes on Apple products that leads to its skyrocketing prices. That's not to say that the iPhone XS in general is cheap. It's still a very expensive phone, but the amount it costs in India is something beyond the realm of affordability for many. Now, I had said that how getting that phone isn't a sin. I mean, you want an Apple product, they are obviously great products. I've used and I still use the iPhone 5S from way back in 2013. I still use it now off and on, and it's just been updated to iOS 12, and it's 8 out of 10 times I would say it's working as fast or as smooth as it did during the first day that I opened and used that phone. So it's the reason I'm explaining this is because this was a very important factor in me, and this is the big revelation. I have decided to get the iPhone XS Max from India. Now that is almost me absolutely kicking my own advice out of the park and doing just the opposite. But let me explain. I did actually contact a friend who lives in the US, and I was absolutely sure that I would make him get the phone and I would pay him because that would be far less expensive. But there was a catch. If he does get it, now India, or at the airports especially, what they've done is if you bring a product like Apple, which is so expensive, and it's not because of Apple products, it's that price bracket which they have fixed. I don't exactly remember what exactly that price bracket is, but it's definitely less than what the iPhone costs. So the iPhone is much more expensive than that limit. If he or whoever your friend or relative is, if they bring a phone which is sealed in mint condition and it's beyond that price bracket, you'll have to pay that import duty once you land in India. And the only way around it is if that person brings that phone inside his or her pocket as if it's a personal phone. It's not something he's bringing for someone to use in the other country. So basically, if he brings it unsealed and in the pocket, and that is where I have a huge problem, because whenever I have gotten my phone, and this I'm talking about ever since 2011, when I first started using flagships, I have always gotten the phone with plastic wrap on the box itself. I've got it home, I have unwrapped it myself and then used it, because I hate other people getting fingerprints or other people unboxing it before I do it. It may not be the most mature thing, but it's something I go by. I cannot really get rid of that habit, and I don't think it's a bad habit, but in this particular case it's proving to be a very expensive one, because I'm having to pay all that tax which in the Indian government is charging, and buy that phone from here. So that's one side. It's because I want to have the unboxing experience in person and, you know, take that phone out in mint condition, take off the plastic wrap, turn it on myself and, well, use it. And that's another important point, that when the other person is bringing it from abroad to India, that phone has to be on and as if it's being used as his or her personal phone. So you see, that phone is getting used. I mean, it might come in almost mint condition, but it's still something that you're buying, but someone else is already forced to open and carry around, and I don't like that at all. But you see, I have been using primarily Android devices since 2011. Before that, I was using Sony Ericsson phones, and from 2011 I first got my Galaxy S2. In 2012 I got my Galaxy Note 2. In 2015 I got my Galaxy S6. In 2017 I got the Galaxy Note 8. So I think you can see a trend that I have been very loyal to Samsung and Android, and I loved it because of the amount of things that they allowed me to do, the amount of productivity and very useful things that I've done over the past with those phones. I have been very happy, and I actually, you wouldn't believe it, but I mean, I'm definitely going to get trolled for this by many of you out there, but if you can, just don't. I got the iPhone 5S in 2013 because of two things. First, Siri was much better back then compared to Google Assistant, but Google Assistant right now is far better. But back then Siri was better, and I also wanted to really try out an iOS device. I want to try out an iPhone, and I was very happy with the iPhone 5S. I was using my Galaxy Note 2 and the iPhone 5S side by side. They were both great. I loved the iPhone 5S and that small form factor, that Touch ID. It was the first phone with a fingerprint sensor. It was amazing, and I loved the screen and everything about it. But then I again went back to Android because of how much more I was able to do on Android devices compared to that fixed regime of an iOS device. I'm still using the Note 8 as my primary phone, and I love it, and a number of things I can do, especially with the S Pen. Because I take a lot of photos and I always edit them, not to morph them, but to bring out the best possible colors and highlights and everything, photography terms, before I post them to social media. The reason now I really want to go and shift to iOS, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to get rid of my Galaxy Note 8. I'm still going to use my Galaxy Note 8, and I'm going to use the iPhone XS Max side by side. I've got a separate SIM for that. It's because there is something about the iOS fluidity that, I mean, I don't have any other Apple products. I don't have an iMac, I don't have an iPad. So it's not because of the ecosystem, but I really want to use an iOS device because of that fluid experience. Because guys, my iPhone 5S, like I said, is still as smooth as the first day I opened it. And it is a very simple interface. I expect the same thing. I've seen a ton of reviews, and apart from the most accurate display, I mean, on a smartphone, which the iPhone XS definitely has, I want that fluidity. I keep saying fluidity because I'm really a fan of how smooth the iOS interface runs. It's not because of Siri this time, but one more thing is, I love the gesture controls on the XS. I mean, ever since the iPhone X, those gesture controls, because I've been going to the Apple store and I've been fiddling around with the demos, and that gesture control is just so intuitive. It's like, why don't other phones do this? it's just common sense. I mean, swiping up and there is no button, it's an all screen experience. And I don't know, I found it very, very appealing because it's much more, it's those little, I mean, minute things that make a, I mean, when they add up, it make a great experience overall. So that's one more reason. I mean, I don't know how valid that is, but to me it is, because finally I'm the one who's buying it. The camera definitely is a major upgrade. I've been seeing the Pixel 3 versus the iPhone XS, the Huawei Mate 20 Pro versus the iPhone XS, and they have been going almost neck and neck. A few places the other phones have been beating the iPhone XS in still pictures, and somewhere the iPhone XS have been beating them. But overall, the video quality of the iPhone XS is still unbeaten. And when I weigh in all the things that go into that iPhone, the entire experience, I will opt for the iPhone. And one more thing, guys, I think everyone knows that other companies except Samsung, they literally wait for Apple to make a design change and do something radical, and then they do the same. I mean, there are thousands of more competent YouTubers out there who can give you the technicality as to why the iPhone X had the notch to start with. It's because they had that the 3D sensor, the depth mapping camera and all that. It's because they had to house those sensors over there, because of which they had to choose a notch to hide them. Other phones, I mean, every other phone since then, they are boasting the notch design. Mind you, the iPhone, I mean, Apple never boasted of their notch design, but everyone else is boasting that notch design with this and that. And the reason they have the notch design is because the Apple has a notch design, and their main intent is not everyone can afford an Apple phone, which is true, but you're giving you a phone for 1/8 or 1/6 or 1/5 the cost, and it's got a notch. I mean, from afar, people will think you're using an Apple device. I mean, that's not the only reason, but definitely that is part of their thinking. And they give a notch without any of those really useful sensors in them. It's just, for them, it's just a design choice because Apple has done it. So if I can afford it, then why not get the phone from the company which actually made or started that design for logical reasons? So that's another reason. I don't know which version, which capacity of the iPhone XS Max I'll be getting. I know the color, it will definitely be gold. I'm getting the 256 gig version because it's a better investment compared to the 64 gig version for the extra amount I'm paying. So maybe I'm going to go for the 256 gig version. And I intend to use this phone for the next 4 to 5 years. That's right, I'm not going to change my phone for the next 4 to 5 years, especially the iPhone XS Max, because there are going to be changes which are going to be coming every year. I'm going to stick to this because what I want more than a design change is that consistent performance. And I know both Samsung and Apple do slow down their phones, but I would have believed that, and I do, it's true. But ever since the iOS 12 update on my iPhone 5S, I'm not getting any lag, and there is absolutely no problem using that phone. So it's 5 years old. I got it in 2013 and it still works fine. It works as smooth. So I don't think the iPhone XS Max will go wrong. And plus, because I'm investing so much, it's only logical for me to use it for 4 to 5 years, because I use the Galaxy Note 8. So if I went for the next flagship from Samsung, so every 2 years or every 1.5 years, if I change a flagship phone, I'll be spending around 70 to 72,000. So 3 times, if I change it within 5 years, if I change it 3 times, I'm spending close to like over 2,10,000 rupees. Instead, if I spend maybe half of that on one device, which is going to be smooth throughout, and I don't really need to make a change before that, I'll wait it out and then the new device maybe after 4 or 5 years. I mean, that's what I intend to do, and hopefully I will be able to do it. Otherwise, my wife is going to kill me. So that's it, guys. That's what I want to tell you. Forgive my unkempt look right now because I just woke up, had a cup of coffee, and just came to the studio. So I just wanted to give you guys this update that I am going to be buying the iPhone XS Max. And let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Yes, it's a very expensive phone. Yes, it's a big investment, but those are my reasons, and they're absolutely subjective. You might not agree with even a single one, but even if you do, or whatever your opinions are, do let me know in the comments below. And yeah, let's just start a conversation. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.